Welcome back to this week's live and YouTube live and the podcast. We got my buddy on the line here. He is live. Welcome to the Waterfowl Den. This is your first time. Y'all gonna see his face in a bunch of upcoming videos. So, without further delay, what is your name? Tony. Tony. That's a side joke. Y'all hear that later in the video. But welcome to the den. My boat is better than your boat. I'm just saying. What do you think?
It's a nice looking boat.
I got flake seal on it, so don't tell me. So, welcome. So, this week, we are going to be talking about the trip that we made, the trip of his life, the best week that he has had this week. So that's as far as we're gonna say is this week. But y'all know me. We usually talk a little weather and football, so we're gonna knock that out early, so that allow some time for people to join in on us here. So let me throw this up on the screen real quick. I know my team sadly didn't make it. Poor Gamecocks. But this weekend, it's just an Army-Navy game. Who's going to win, Tony?
Army.
I mean, is there any bias to that?
There might be a little bit.
A little bit of bias. So if y'all don't know, fill you in. Tony's got a little military background. So welcome back, Jeff. Welcome back, Jay. Jay, thank you for filling in last week for us. Me and Tony were going down the road listening, so couldn't get no video, but Tony was driving. I was afraid for my life while I was texting and filling in when Jay filled in. So hey, I greatly appreciate Jay filling in. So Tony, there is a 20-second delay, so they comment, but there's like a 20-second delay. So this coming weekend there is some bowls. There's a few games going on. Definitely this Florida game, this Notre Dame. That's probably going to be some good ones. But getting down here in the real meat and potatoes, Clemson and Texas is going to win.
Not
you don't think so?
Not happening.
I mean, Clemson is like 16 and Texas is 3.
Not happening, man.
I'm just saying that bye week that all these teams are getting, they better rest up because, I mean, you want to throw a prediction who you think's going to win the championship?
Oh, Clemson going all the way.
Oh, Jay, where you at, Jay? I know you in the comments. Like I said, it's a 20-second delay, and I'm sure he's going to be talking. He's going to be saying the dogs. I'm just going to go ahead and say Jay is going to say the dogs.
They look good too.
So Jay's from Georgia, big Georgia fan. So yeah, I'm 100% sure he's going to talk and say the dogs. You know, I'm kind of on the fence. I think they might have a pretty good chance. But as most of y'all know, this week I've been talking about it for a while now, that we were going on a hunting trip, a little adventure. Jay said he's got his fingers hurt. Oh, Jay said you're going to get your feelings hurt. Jay, them ain't feelings. I mean, when you a Clemson fan, them ain't feelings, man. I'm just saying. But that's coming from a Gamecock that's sitting on the beach.
They got their feelings hurt.
We just wasn't Bama. Our name just didn't have Bama. That's all it was. Jeff says Nebraska made it to the bowl in the first time in 8 years. Hey, Jeff, I mean, every now and then Carolina can pull out something famous too. Just not this year. So I've been talking it up for a while that I had a big trip coming up. And so obviously this week was the big trip. So I'm going to pull the map back up here real quick. So, you know, we live in the big, great state of South Carolina, you know, the big duck mega capital of the world where we have wood ducks, and that's about it. So I picked my buddy up last Wednesday, and we made a 7-day trip. I feel like halfway around the world. No joke, we went halfway across the country. So we left South Carolina. We went through the great state of Georgia, Jay. We went through Bama, and then we cut across Mississippi, barely just into Tennessee, just for a hair, across Arkansas, and then we made it all the way out here where that little dot is, Oklahoma. And honestly, I was thinking like planes. I've never been to Oklahoma, so this was the first time that I've ever went to Oklahoma, and I was thinking it would be more flatter. And we saw a lot of hills. Got some pretty good content video-wise, so that's going to take some while to edit that video for sure. I'm going to try to edit some video that shows Tony actually shooting good. But yeah, there's a lot of content. I mean, so originally it was going to be 2 days of Oklahoma, a day of rest in between, and going to Reelfoot Lake, Tennessee. And Tony pressured me. I mean, it wasn't much of a pressure, but I mean, it was pressured, but he pressured me into staying in Oklahoma one more day to hunt. I mean, it was a hard choice, but we done it, and then we went to Tennessee and hunted. But most of y'all have hunted in other states, and obviously we were non-residents, but most of the time you could get a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day, sometimes a 10-day pass to hunt a state. Well, when we went to go get our license, you could get I think it was a 5-day hunt, but as soon as you added waterfowl, state waterfowl, it would change your 5-day to a year. So, I mean, I thought it was a malfunction on the website, so I called them, and they was like, yeah, we just changed that, and it was like $220 for like all the license to hunt 3 days. So kind of got us. We didn't know about it, and they literally just changed it. So we get out to Oklahoma. First off, we leave South Carolina, and I think we got all the way to Arkansas. I think that was called Conway. And so we stopped for the night. Me personally, Tony wanted to keep driving all. He wanted to do it all in one day, and I'm y'all can't see the gray too good up here, you know, my hair club for men here. But the gray was telling me, no, I was too old to make a whole 18-hour trip. So we stopped, and we went to this amazing restaurant. He said it was janky. But once he got the food, he had to apologize verbally to me that it was pretty good.
I'm not sure that's how exactly it was, but we made it out there without getting food poisoning.
So that is the truth, because you know when you're on the road, like way away from home, you always don't want food poisoning. And we ate sushi on day one. Looking back, that was probably not the best thing to do. I mean, it would have been miserable to have food poisoning like the whole trip. But it was amazing. So we get at the hotel. We had basically all we had to do was drive across Oklahoma the next day. So we drive across Oklahoma. The wind farms were insane out there. I mean, it was crazy. Two weird things that I picked up going out there. Well, there was 2 signs, and one of the signs I got video of. The second sign I did not. The first sign, we're just driving through Oklahoma. I don't know if it was before Oklahoma City or after Oklahoma City. We're just driving, and the next thing we know, we're going up a hill. It was like the mountains, and there was a big sign that said bear crossing. I'm like, what? Like, I don't think bears in the middle of Oklahoma. I think tornadoes and Dorothy flying through the sky, but not bears. So then we keep on driving, and you're going to see this sign in the video. It was a sign that says, "Protect our workers, a $10,000 fine." On the side road, it said, "Protect our workers, a $10,000 fine." I mean, it almost made you think, "Boop, boop, boop, boop." Oh, that was just 10,000, and just keep on going. I've never seen a sign that made you feel not valuable. I mean, it almost felt like you were only worth 10,000 to that state. 10,000. Next, please. I don't know. That was kind of weird. So we get to Oklahoma. We get there a little bit early, and I think it was around 2, and we were supposed to check in around 4. I said, well, let's just see if there's any gun stores. I mean, why not? So I pull up a map. Again, we're out in the middle of nowhere. We find this pawn shop. I'm like, oh, it's a gun and pawn. So we park. We walk in. There's no guns. So the guy was like, hey, y'all doing? We was like, doing good. We just traveling. You got any guns? No, we don't got the permit for it. I was like, what kind of place is that? This is almost like Tony's Chicken Shack. Name of the store, Tony's Chicken Shack. We don't sell chicken, but we got hamburgers. That's almost what it was. I was kind of disappointed. So we finally get checked in. We get a good night's rest. That lodge was pretty nice. Good eating. I don't recall eating anything bad this week.
Everything was good.
I'll take that back. I do recall one thing bad. It was them caramel. No, it was the nuts from Buc-ee's. It was the cashews. Them cashews, I don't really know what they call, but you see them in the fairs and the nuts going around and around. It's putting all that candy and brown sugar on. That might have been the worst thing I ate all week. But we get up the first day. So we did 3 waterfowl hunts and then another type hunt. So we did 6 different hunts while we were gone. The first day was a traditional pond type hunting. So this was like your first time hunting really waterfowl, right?
I mean, I've been before, but I wouldn't be considered a big duck hunter.
So we may be pulling him in financially. He may never recover from this week. That's just the life of waterfowl hunting. But yeah, Jay said beaver nuts. Yeah, so I got a pack of them beaver nuts. So we went to Buc-ee's twice, going and coming. I got the beaver nuts to start with, and he was like, "I don't want them." And then
that's the beaver nuggets.
Yeah, I may have ate 7/8 of the bag. He may have had one handful out of it. But the first day we're hunting this pond, water out west is something you really want to have. And they said that when the mallards show up, this was a mallard's hole. When the mallards show up, the mallards are going to show up. And I mean, what do you think that pond was? Maybe an acre?
I don't know if it was that big.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it was maybe a little bit more than half. But I think it was between 2 hills, and a farmer just made a dam, and it just fills up. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh! When the mallards showed up, they showed up, didn't they?
Oh yeah, they were in there.
It was like this. All right, fellas, it's shooting time. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's pack up, pick up the shells, pick up the blind. Let's go. That's how quick it was. Maybe an hour.
Yeah, I think we were done by 8:30, loading everything up at 8:30.
Loading everything up at 8:30. Yeah, I mean it was bam, bam, wada bing bang, ching chang, and we were back at taking photos and gone. The second day was a goose hunting adventure. So we were hunting a field. Now, that's not uncommon out there. We were up against a fence and a A-frame type panel blind. How many of them was there? About 10 of us, the group, plus guides.
Yeah, 10 or 12.
Yeah. And the guy said, when the birds come, they're going to be coming, like thousands. And that's kind of hard for us to wrap our heads around, thousands. I honestly don't know where they came from, so I'm not even going to tell y'all, sit here and tell you, oh, they just came 20 miles down the road. When you out in Oklahoma, Texas, them flat places, 5 miles is like 20 miles. It's just so flat. We were out there. It was shooting time. The sun's done come up. Maybe not sun came up, but you could see the decoys easily. And the guy said, all right, boys, get ready. They just came off the roost. Like, the roost? Like, what the heck is he? Holy moly.
Yeah.
20 miles down the road. I don't know, 5,000 geese. I mean, I don't even know if 5,000 is a number for these geese. Because it blacked out the whole sky.
Oh, yeah.
And when it come, it rained birds. I mean, rain birds. So Jeff said, I thought you would be in the birds. They blew through here. Yeah, Jeff, I'm getting to that part. We were in the birds too. So I got this video of that first part of them birds coming in. And I'm not going to lie, I was severely overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, you only get 3 shells. And it's boom, boom, boom. And, I mean, birds everywhere. And I go back and watch this video that night when we get back to the house. And I tell Tony, I'm like, Tony, you got to look at this video. We didn't even notice when we were shooting. What did we miss, Tony?
Oh, you talking about the birds on the ground?
Birds on the ground. There was birds in the decoy. We
hundreds.
Over here, easily hundreds.
Yeah.
We over here trying to pick birds out of thousands at like 30, 40, 50 yards. And we never saw the ones in the decoys that lifted that was like Chuck Norrising us right in the face. I mean, they were like slim pickings, and we missed them. There was that many birds. Like, I cannot explain it.
Well, I think the guys was waiting so long to let them come in and make sure, they was coming in and giving us good shots and, letting them get in the decoys. And with that many birds, they were already flopping on the ground. It wasn't nothing you could do. And like you said, when we come over top of that blind, it was just overwhelming. I've never seen that many birds, period, much less all the geese and how loud they were.
Right. Because I went to Texas and I hunted speckled bellies and I didn't hunt the snows. The snows were there. And I was trying to explain to Tony, I'm like, there's going to be a lot of birds. And the only way I was explaining it to him was them little black birds that, pile up, that come down and they keep going down to Florida. For us, that's the only thing that I can explain it to, because there is no birds around like that in South Carolina. And these were lesser, or what some people call cracklers. They're about the size of a mallard. So Jeff said, oh, they came. He was saying that they flew over him to get to Oklahoma. Yes. I bet you, I seriously would put money on it. When they lifted off of wherever water or river they were on, it had to show up on radar.
Oh, man.
It probably showed up on radar in the field we were in for a second.
I thought it was pretty cool because when they said, all right, there they are getting off the roost, and I look in the horizon, you just see this black line that you can see for who knows how many miles. And I'm thinking to myself, like, are those birds really going to make it to us? And they kept coming. And, when I don't know how far they were, guides, hey, y'all need to start getting ready, get tucked down, get ready in the blind. Don't pick your heads up until we tell you to. And like I said, when you come over that blind, that is just an experience that you'd have to be there to. Maybe some of these guys watching have seen it. I've never seen it, so I didn't know what to expect. But I just remember how loud it was as they were approaching, and then when they got on top of us, it was just, if the guide wouldn't have yelled as loud as he would have, I wouldn't have known it was time to shoot until I seen everybody stand up.
And that's one of the videos. So the guy to the left of Tony had a GoPro, and then I had a GoPro. So it would have been, we're just going to say Bob, then Tony, and then me. Mm-hmm. And we both got the same GoPro camera. He had it on his head. I had it on my head. When I watched his, when the guy said, "Get them, boys," that's what it sounded like. When you listen to mine, it's like, "Get them, boy." That's how loud it was. I mean, it is not. Did that get quieter? 100%. Like Tony said, it got, like, it was that loud. Mm-hmm. And then they flew and flew and flew. We were able to pick out 2 widgeons. We knocked down 2 widgeons. Y'all know that I've been talking about a pintail. All I wanted was a pintail. Pintail. Everybody in the blind knew I wanted a pintail. I think the guy driving down the road, the farmer, said, "Hey, RD, I hope you get a pintail." That's how, I think I wrote, "I want a pintail" on the back of my truck as we were going. But they would not, them pintails would not go down. You could look up and see a pintail. You could see the sprig. Mm-hmm. I mean, Chuck Norris couldn't have knocked one down. I mean, that's how sky blasting they would have been. But that was the second day. I was kind of hopeful. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get me a pintail. I'm going to get me a pintail. That didn't happen. So we pick up the decoys. We go back. So somebody, Tony, was like, "Man, we're going to pheasant hunt. We're going to pheasant hunt." I'm like, "Man, I don't know." I, not knowing in the background, he was already doing some tasting and already had it booked. So that's something we got to work out in the background. But he paid for the pheasant hunt. So we go to pheasant hunting, and man, that dog was, I've never been out there with a dog working that good. I can't wait to show that video. That dog, and I showed it to Tony. We're walking, the dog's walking, the tail's wagging, and when that dog stopped, it was 100% emergency brake, e-brake, and the Jake brake all at one time. It looks like somebody paused the dog and everything else in the world is still moving. That's how still that dog was. Am I making it up?
No, that dog, that was a good dog. He had worked, you could tell he had worked hard with that dog, and she was a good one.
Yeah. And then the birds jumped up, and I looked like my first day ever with a shotgun. It was pretty bad. So, I mean, it looked like I was Ray Charles with a blindfold on shooting blanks.
It was a good thing I was there. That's what you mean to say.
If Tony was not there, the first 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 birds probably would have escaped rent-free. So with that being said, I knew that there was a chance that we could go pheasant hunting. I already knew it. And I knew there was a chance that we could go dove hunting. So I was packing my bag. I just grabbed a box of, lead shells and went on. Well, not realizing it, I picked the lead shells that I reload for my skeet shooting, which is a 1 ounce number 8s. They do not cycle in my 3.5 inch waterfowl gun. So every time I pulled the trigger, it would jam. And like, I would throw up. And I mean, what, 10 foot in front of us?
Yeah, look, maybe a little bit further.
Okay, 12. He was trying to give me credit. So 11 foot 6 inches in front of me, I could have just swung the barrel and hit the bird. I was missing. And plus my gun was jamming. So Tony gave me some of his shells. I'm like, something just isn't right. Changed chokes, started hitting birds. By this time, Tony done got so tired of shooting birds. I mean, he was just, all right, bro. I mean, that's how bad it was, y'all. I finally able to knock down 2 birds. I'm not sure if I shot the birds or if they just fell a heart attack, or I don't really know. But I got 2 birds. Tony was 100% on his A game that day. We get back to the hotel. You know, I got the shot cam. I got the GoPro. And I look at this video, and I'm like, Tony, bro, you got to come look at this. I'm like, I knew I wasn't missing the birds because you'd see feathers. That was about it. I got 1 pheasant lifted. The pheasant, boom, the pheasant went like that. And then kept on flying. I'm like, what in the world? Yeah, I was shooting 8s. He was shooting 7.5s. And come to find out, we needed 5s and 6s. So if you ever go pheasant hunting, don't do what I did and bring 8s. At least Tony had 7.5s, and that definitely got the job done. And like I said, once I got his shells, it was lights out. But it was a 1 1/8 ounce, so it had more payload, a little bit more powder, heavy load versus my 1 ounce reloads. But that was pretty cool. I did enjoy it, especially after I was like, man, what in the world? I can't be this bad. Or at least I thought it couldn't be that bad. So we go back and we're starting to clean up the birds. At this time, we already had day 1 of mallards. We had geese, and now we got pheasants, and we're both like, where are we going to put all this meat? So the guy came up, and I mean, when he cleaned bird, it was done. I mean, I have personally cleaned a lot of waterfowl. This dude looked like done. I mean, it looked like somebody cleaning doves. That's how fast this guy was. And he was like, what do you want to do with them? You want to cook them tonight? I'm like, man, I ain't never had them. You never had them either, right?
I never had them, no.
So he was like, I don't have my great ingredients, but I'll see what I can come up with. We'll try to make it taste good. He knocked it out of the park, didn't he? Oh
yeah, they were phenomenal.
They look like little, I would call them like catfish nuggets. Like they look like catfish nuggets. Jeff says number 5 shot lead. Yeah, I needed that like a week ago. Jeff, I might have said Jay. Jeff, I needed that a week ago. That was a key information that I did not know. So going forward, we will not have that problem. Life lesson. But man, he made these pheasant nuggets. Oh my gosh, they were amazing.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
There was what, like 6 people at the house?
Yeah.
And he probably cooked like 3 or 4 pheasants. I know it was 3. 1 pheasant.
One was all shot in the breast or something, bruised up pretty bad. He said
it had a lot of pellets in it.
Yeah.
So I think that probably came from all them 8s that wasn't even like hardly getting past the feathers, and just, it wasn't even blowing through the meat. It was just there. So we couldn't use that that breast meat at all. But oh my God, I mean, that dude should have had a cooking recipe. Like, it was so good. I wish I would have watched him, like, what he did. And then the other guy made some steaks. I'm just going to go on the record and say that was the best steak that I personally have ever ate. Now, Tony likes to cook. Tony is the chef. Usually when we went camping, Tony was the main chef. The only thing that he would allow me to cook was breakfast, which was bacon and eggs. That was about the only thing that he allowed me to cook. But we cook a lot of meats together. But this guy pulled out a pan from like Walmart. Not a cast iron, not a skillet. I mean, this thing looked like, I mean, what? Just something you could get at Dollar General pan.
Yeah, it was just an old aluminum pan, and it just been around the camp for a while, and nothing special.
So what did you think when you saw it to start with?
Oh, I thought you done brought me up in one of your spots again when he broke that pan out. I thought, man, he's getting ready to ruin a stack of meat.
I mean, they were stacks of meat, like massive steaks. But we go take showers, get dressed. We come back down. I don't know what he did to these steaks. I don't know how he seared them. I don't know. Tony don't know what we really didn't. Wow. And I mean, he cooked it from that pan. I don't know how he done it, but it looked like it had a glaze on it. Tony's eyes changed when he came back in and sat at that plate. And when he took a bite, it was unreal.
You dang near cut it with a butter knife. I mean, it jammed up. I ain't gonna lie to you now. I had to apologize to him the next day.
I mean, Tony even like verbally apologized. Like when we got back to our room, he was like, "I can't believe he did that in that paint." Like I'm like, "I can't believe he did it either." He's like, "Man, I verbally apologized to him in my head." So the next day, Tony was like, "Man, I didn't even give you credit for that." And then he gave him credit, like it was that good. So the third day we went with him. This was going to be in a peanut field. It was going to be laying on our backs, in layout blinds, but not the pop-up layout blinds. They were the blankets, and I cannot think of that company. I know that company off the top of my head.
Tangle Free?
Tangle Free, that was it.
Yeah.
Because they were Tangle Free blinds too, layout blinds. So he was like, there's like 3,000, 6,000 mallards coming in this field. I'm like, I mean, like you hear numbers like that from South Carolina. That's just like unreal. Now, if that was the first day and somebody told me 3,000 mallards, I would have been like, but after seeing what they said about the geese, I kind of believed them.
Oh, yeah.
So that was, Jeff was asking what guide service. It was Prairie Creek Outfitters. So we get out there. They already had the decoys out. We in this peanut field. And, well, let me back it up just a hair. When we leave the house, Tony goes outside, and then I go outside, and I'm like, man, sure is foggy. What'd you think it was?
I thought it was smoke at first. It looked weird up underneath the lights.
It did. It was like a haze.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, we ain't going to do no good. It's foggy out here. So we get in the truck and we go and we setting up. And the guy's like, man, this dust storm's rough, ain't it? I was like, dust storm? I mean, it was dark.
And when we left the house, it was relatively warm.
Right. That is also true because now Tony didn't want to be cold. So he looked like, I don't think his name was Ralphie, but we're going to go with Ralphie, but I don't think his name was Ralphie. On the Christmas Story, his little brother he couldn't put his arms down, that was Tony. Like, he literally put his clothes on, and he's like, I don't know how I'm going to shoot my gun. I can't put my arms down. I'm like, because you got too much on. So that was like day 1. So day 3, when we're going out there, he's like, nah, I don't think I need my jacket. It feels pretty good. I was agreeing with him. I was just in my long sleeve. We got to that field, and that wind was ripping.
Oh, yeah.
It had to be, feel like temperature, 20 degrees difference. Tony was like, man, I'm glad I brought my Carhartt jacket. And he throws it on. I had my jacket and I threw it on too, but it wasn't enough. It was not enough. So we're out there and we're starting to get in, set in, and like everything's covered in dust. Like, the way I describe it is a night at the dirt track. Like, if you go to a dirt track and you got your car covered, you wipe your nose, you got brown stuff, and you go to clean your ears out, that's what it felt like. I felt like I was just at a Saturday night dirt track race. But we lay down, and these ducks, these mallards start coming in. We're laying, and them Tangle Frees got like a window, like a mesh window. And we were laying in the decoys. I have personally never laid in the decoys and hunted. It was pretty awesome. They were flying in, feet down. You could literally hear them quacking above our heads. And Tony was beside me. He's pointing, like, I could see him pointing up. He's like, look this way. And I'm like, no, look that way. And I'm like, there were birds everywhere. I mean, that's literally, it was crazy. And, we'd throw up, and these birds would be like, I don't know, 10, 15 yards max. But they were wanting to land over here. We knocked a few out. We moved the blinds around, basically shifted them. And we had a pretty good day. But, I mean, when we left there, it looked like we were at the beach. Like when you're at the beach and your mama's always yelling not to blow the sand with the towels. That's what I felt like with them blankets. But my Maxes looked like a dirt pile got in them. I mean, it was unreal. So I told Tony we were leaving there after that hunt, and we were driving straight to Tennessee for Reelfoot Lake. I said, Tony, I mean, like, when you pull the boat back, you could hear the sand, you could feel the grit. It was terrible. I said, we got to stop somewhere and get some cleaner. So we stopped at it was Dollar General. Yeah. Went in, got some cleaner and brake cleaner, and Jeff asked, was it red dirt? No, it was brown,
kind of sandy,
very sandy.
Yeah.
I mean, the peanuts were still out in the field. I mean, like, not like growing, like they combined them, processed them, but I mean, it was just like when you walked, it felt like you were walking like puff. Like, I felt like I was on the moon, kind of, if that explains it anything. But we cleaned the guns and went and got our stuff and packed up. We left on our 10-hour adventure to Reelfoot Lake. So, like I said, I wanted to hunt 2 days, have a little break in between, and since we threw the third day in, was like, hey, we're going to have to drive in the dark to get to Reelfoot. So we're going across Oklahoma. I'm like, yeah, we ain't got too much farther. We're going to be in Memphis. I totally forgot the whole state of Arkansas because John Kincaid called me. He was like, where y'all at? And I'm like, we just came from Oklahoma City. We won't be long from Memphis. Hey, we wasn't even in Arkansas yet. So we drive all the way across Arkansas. We get to, is it Dyers? I think it's Dyersburg.
Yeah, sounds right.
Dyersburg, Tennessee. And I think it was like 1 o'clock. And we had to meet at the boat ramp at 5 o'clock. And I told Tony, I'm like, hey, you want to get a hotel for 4 hours? And it wouldn't even be 4 hours because the time we got checked in, it was a 30-minute ride to the boat ramp. I'm like, we really wouldn't get but 3 hours sleep. I'm like, you just want to sleep in the truck and save that $100. So that's what we did. We slept in the truck. Tony said it was the worst experience. He said he can only count on one hand the times that he slept in the truck.
Because it didn't take me long to learn. I'm a fast learner.
I don't recall.
I've slept at the boat landings before, and that's a bad feeling. I slept at down at Santee one time early deer season and got ate slam up by the mosquitoes.
Well, there was no mosquitoes this time.
No mosquitoes to that time for sure.
Frostbite, possibly, but no mosquitoes. So we slept in the truck, and right beside it was a gas station. And that time, when we got there, it was like 1:30, and I think I had like a quarter tank of gas or something. He was like, well, heck, we already up. We might as well go fill up so we don't have to do it in the morning. I'm like, well, I guess it makes sense. So we go fill up, and we sitting there, and we had maybe 3 hours to kill, something like that. So we eventually fall asleep. I don't know if he was snoring. I don't know if I was snoring. Maybe the cops thought there was bears in the area, polar bears snoring. I don't know. So we meet up with Logan from John Kincaid, and Logan's like, we're going across the street. We're going to put in, and we're going to do like a marsh type hunt. We take off in the boat, and it was really foggy, and I hate hunting in fog. I know some of y'all on here be like, man, that's the best time I ever hunted. Every single time I hunt in the fog, I never do really great. Jeff says sleeping in the truck at my age is not going to work. I wouldn't be able to move for a week.
That's right. That's rough.
We had a little help. We had a little vitamin IB before we got up. Yeah, it was rough, Jeff. One of us is older than the other one. I'm the young one of the group.
Young.
Yeah. I mean, what? 2 years? Maybe 3? Possibly. Yeah, I think maybe 3. Let's go. Let's just go on an easy note and say you're 4 years older. But yes, we made it, and we get out there to the blind. And when I tell Tony, and I'm telling him, I'm like, I had to bring you what it's like to really duck hunt before we go to these blinds. Because if I would have brought him to these blinds first, and then we would have went anywhere else, it's not the same. What'd you call
it? I don't know. That was something to see when you drive up in that blind, and then he reaches up there and flips the switch on, and everything comes on, and you walk inside this blind that's about better than that restaurant you took me to.
He probably cooked better food too.
It would spoil you.
He walked in this blind. He turns around and look. He said, "Man, this ain't duck hunting. This is what do you call it? Glamping. Like
yeah.
When you, camping.
That's kind of like glamping. You know, duck hunting to me is tent camping. That was glamping for sure."
Jeff says he's 58. Jeff, he ain't too far behind you there, brother. He's knocking on that door pretty good.
I felt 78 sleeping in.
Hey, at least you had the passenger seat. I had a steering wheel. And let's even go even further. We couldn't even lay the seats back because we had so much junk in the truck. I mean, we had so much clothes and all kind of stuff. We couldn't even lay the seats back. I mean, it wasn't like driving position, but it was like 2 clicks backwards. But we get out there and he's like, man, this ain't duck hunting, man. I'm like, I know, man, this is different. But you had to experience, and I'm not even saying that the other guys were bad. They were great too. But we all know what the A-frames are, the layouts are. And when you get out here to Reelfoot Lake, and like Tony says, when you drive, a 17, 18-foot boat into a blind,
mm-hmm.
and it's got a shed, and like Reelfoot Lake, what did Logan say that water was? How many acres was that?
18,000, I think he said.
Yeah, so I mean,
the
like,
whole thing was bigger than that, I believe.
Massive amount of like water, and you're riding in, you're seeing these these blinds, single wide, double home.
Oh yeah.
If not, some of them are double wides.
They might not been quite as long. A lot of them weren't quite as long, but that's what it would remind you of.
I mean, this blind had a toilet.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it was a toilet. How about that? We're just gonna say it was better than any porta-john you ever been in. But we get there, like Tony said, flips the switch on, and as soon as Tony walks in, full-size stove, like a gas 4-eye oven stove, a black top, countertops, a sofa. I already had him hooked at that time. He was 100% ready to go back. We get out there. We did pretty good the first day. The bad part was we get back after hunting. I said, well, dang, Tony, I didn't even take a group photo. Like, I've been taking photos. I mean, obviously, I'm supposed to, like, record it, and I'm supposed to be the professional YouTuber here. I didn't even take pictures of us. I didn't take pictures of the birds. It's like that day never existed. But I do have some GoPro footage of it. But it got slow there for a little bit, and I may or may not have fell asleep on the couch. And I woke up when Logan started blowing the call. So I don't know what was said while I was asleep. I don't know if I was snoring so bad that they started blowing the call to wake my butt up. But Tony was at one end of the blind. I was at this end, and he said he heard me. I think he's making it up. I don't know.
No, there might be some truth to the whole blowing the call to wake you up.
But that was a really cool day. Tony, how many decoys do you think he was out there?
I don't know, 600 to 800 maybe.
I asked him, and I'm not even going to say the answer. I asked him, I said, how many trips does it take to get this to the landing? What'd he say?
6 trips.
6 trips.
He's got a big boat.
Big boat. Big aluminum boat. 6 trips. That's how many decoys were out there. And I'm not even talking the mojos, the old butt squirters. I mean, so we get there, and I'm like, Tony, you see this T-post out here? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, wait till he flips the switch. He's like, flip the switch? I'm like, yeah, look right here where he stands. There's light switches everywhere. He flipped that switch, and what did that decoys do?
Oh, the whole setup, come to life more or less.
I mean, it almost looked like Griswold when he plugs the power in. I knew that in that triangle was a track. So when he flips the switch, the decoys look like a carousel going through the water. Like, and then he can flip the switch the other way and they go backwards. Like, all these decoys just swimming inside the thing. I mean, it's unreal. Even Jeff says the Reelfoot Lake is unreal. Like, ain't nothing like a blind at Reelfoot. Jay's our age too. Jeff said the blind is so much comfortable than a truck. Well, we couldn't get out there. I agree that couch was pretty nice. What happened was, what did he have turned on beside the couch?
The heater.
he had the heater turned on. And when I say heater, they call them space heaters, right?
No, I don't think I don't know what they're wall heater.
They're wall heaters.
Yeah.
You know, you see them in like some people's houses for like backups. Like if the power goes out, you know, they mount on the wall. I mean, they pretty good. I mean, they put out heat too. He fed us, and then the heat was on, and then I don't know what happened. I fell asleep. But I don't know, about an hour or two later, I find Tony in the chair beside it, and he's snoring pretty good too. So maybe some of them videos will make it on there. I got to hold back some videos for future blackmailing. So so at the end of that day, I think we got 5 birds that day, and that was just me and Tony. We go, and he's like, do you want to come back to this blind, or do you want to go out in the open and maybe get some divers? I'm like, I've never hunted divers at Reelfoot. They were talking about the day before somebody shot a canvasback out there in the big water, and I'm like, shoot, let me just check a can off this list, and I'll be even happier. So that was the decision. He's like, man, this blind ain't all that great. We're gonna rebuild it next year. I thought it was really nice.
I did too.
Now, granted, I'm like a foot taller than everybody else, so it could have used a little height, but I didn't hit my head on anything. But as being a tall person, you know, you get used to not whacking your head on stuff, so it don't take much for you to remember, hey, don't whack your head on it. But we get out there, and Tony went to missing. I mean, it was bad. Tony looked like me the day before.
It was pretty bad.
It was pretty bad. So I throw up, click, like my gun jammed, like it was doing the other day. So I was shooting my 2 3/4 TSS. I switched to a 3-inch. I went to the 3.5. Nothing would cycle in my maxes, and it was just so gritty. And like I told Tony, I said, hey, bring a spare gun, because, I mean, we went on an adventure. We covered 10 states on this adventure that we had over the past 7 days. So I just threw it to the side. I couldn't use my shot cam because I didn't have the wrench to take it off. So I went to my backup stoker, and just said, I'm not going to hurt that hard head. That's probably facts. But I go to my stoker, and 3 birds pitch across the back of the blind. I go, boom, middle bird folds, hit the water. I don't think it wasn't sunrise yet, but it was definitely after shooting time. Like, it was borderline being sunrise. And Tony was at the end of the blind. The guy was in the middle. And, you know, I done sit down, loading my shells up, looking. What did he say, Tony? He leaned up, and he said what?
I don't remember where you're going with this.
What was in the water?
Oh, he said, there's your pintail.
He said, he looked over, he said, you done shot a bullhead pintail. Yeah. I hear you, boy. And Tony's like, I hear you. I'm like, man, quit playing with my heartstrings, man. I ain't even looking. He's like, nah, bro. And I'm like, man, quit lying. I ain't even believe. He's like, look, bro. And I stand up, and I see that head and that nose floating in the water. What I tell him, Tony? You need to go on and get that bird. Yeah. You need to go ahead and go get him. He's like, I can't. I got to wait for him to float past these wires. I'm telling you, if them eagles go out there, if the eagles or the ospreys start flying around, I will jump out of this blind and swim out there and get that bird. But I got pintail. On the last day, got pintail. Now, granted, he was a younger one and doesn't have no sprig, but first off, that's the first time I've ever shot a pintail. So, one of two things is going to happen. He's going to go right here with the divers, or he's going to go over there on the boat. I'm not sure. Haven't made my mind up where he's going yet, but he's going somewhere. But we get on throughout the day, and Tony was on the struggle bus. Jay said, "I done told you, you bought those maxes can't kill a stoker. I promise you, you cannot kill a stoker." But we done told Tony, all right, Tony, we ain't even gonna shoot till you shoot. Now, granted, well, I don't even know how old Logan is. I know he's in his 20s. He's definitely older than 21, 23, 25, maybe. I don't know. He ain't very old. And I was sitting beside Logan, so when birds on Tony's end would fly, Logan would be up. Here comes Tony through the hole. Boom, boom, boom. And then me and Logan would shoot. And the bad part was, I mean, I'm talking junk about Tony missing, but I can promise you, there should have been at least 10 more birds, at least, and 10 would probably be on the lower number of birds that we missed. And I'm talking about some of these birds, like in South Carolina, wood duck style, when they buzz the blind, you're not going to catch up to them anyway. But man, these mallards were just by. I mean, we missed birds. Tony missed some birds. We would talk junk about him missing birds, and then we would miss the birds that we were talking junk. That it was a bad day on misses. If we had to put our batting average on all them birds, it would be. We wouldn't be traded.
I'm pretty sure I redeemed myself, though, on them last two that come in.
The last two was on Tony's side of the blind. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm telling you, by this time, this was, I don't know, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. At Reelfoot Lake, you got to stop at 3 o'clock. That's the cutoff. It gives the birds time to rest. And plus, there's so many houses, they get tired of hearing duck hunters too, but the rule is 3 o'clock, you're done. This bird, man, I wish I would have had it. Like this time, the GoPro's done dead. This bird, boom, boom, boom. The bird flying. Dang it, Tony, you done missed. Going down, going down, going down. And this bird went into like a tornado style, just falling from the sky. I mean, it was just, and then bloosh. I mean, like stone cold dead. It took that, they always say it takes that one pellet to hit the bird. But that's what it was, that one pellet. And I really can't describe it. It looked like Duck Hunt, the video game, where the bird's just falling, like torpedoing, like belly up. I couldn't get it on video. It was awesome. And he did redeem himself, but it was at the end of the day. Jeff said you hit the one that mattered.
That's right.
Maybe right. I'm thinking he's talking about my pintail.
I think he was talking about me.
It's going to take him 20 seconds for him to clarify which one it is. Jeff said, dreams do control. Congratulations. Glory be to God. Speaking of God, we prayed in the video, which you ain't seen it because the video ain't there yet, but we prayed before. I definitely want to, could you say give a shout out? to God? Anyway, we're going to give a shout out to God for keeping us safe as we drove 3,000 plus miles. And while both of us was gone, keeping our family safe, our kids safe, definitely thank the Lord for the protection of that. I mean, that is one thing that's in the back of your mind when you leave your wife and the kids, and if something happens, hey, we were 1,500 miles away. It ain't just get in the old trash truck and go. But we definitely prayed for the truck. I prayed for the truck to make it there and back. I don't know what Tony was saying when he was praying. He probably was praying 10 times more in this truck. But the old Goose truck made it there and backly with no issues. Maybe a little bit of vibration on the brakes, though.
I had a lot of vibration on the brake.
Maybe a little bit. So I have two trucks. Probably both trucks have been in some video at some point of time. So the old white truck is it's just a work truck. And when I say it's a V6, it probably really should be a 4-cylinder, but it just has 2 extra pistons. I don't know what them 2 pistons are doing because it has no horsepower. It's got manual door locks, manual windows. The only thing luxurious about this truck is the air conditioning. And I'm the driver. I've always been the driver of this truck. I've never been a what they call a passenger princess. And Tony's like, man, it sure is cold in this truck, man. I'm like, dude, I got the heat on. I'm like, what are you talking about? He looked like an Eskimo going down the road. I'm like, man, this joker's sick. So he's like, my feet are freezing. I'm like, I done took my boots off. I'm in my socks. The leathers feel like they're on fire. I don't know. I'm like, what is wrong with him? This truck don't have passenger and driver side. It's just one. So I'm like, man. I got my window cracked. It's 30 degrees. We've been driving. And I'm like, something's wrong with him. So in that first night of driving, I got on the computer to help Jay. He needed to hit the buttons to be pushed to make the live. So when I did this, I'm in the passenger seat. And I'm like, my God, it's cold over here. So there was a crack, a hole, a fan. I had no idea. We could not find where this air is coming from. I described it as some of us older generations, the trucks that didn't have no air conditioning and you pulled the little thing down at your feet. That's what it felt like to me. Is that what it felt like to you?
Oh, it was rough.
So I now know what he was talking about. The cold. It was brutal. But the truck did good. He was like, the whole time, I don't know why we in this Home Depot truck when you got an F-250 with leather seats and heated seats at home. I was trying to save on gas money. And what'd you say?
I was going to split. You had a second man riding. We were splitting everything.
See, if I would have gave you that much luxury and all this good hunting and all this good feeding of food, you would. There's something about a trip that's got to make somebody miserable.
No, I was just been appreciative. That's what I'd have been.
Maybe next time. We'll take the F-250 when we go to Santee. I don't even got back today. The wife I didn't even look at the card, how much you spent. I said, well, don't look at how much gas we bought. I don't even know how many. I don't even know how many, because once we got past Arkansas, wherever we stopped to eat, use the bathroom, we filled up, because once you get out to Oklahoma, hey, you might go 20 exits before you see a gas station.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay said, spoil him and then bring him back to reality. That's exactly right. See, Jay knows the old the old white goose truck. But this whole adventure, I was telling Tony, I'm like, man, when I'm driving down the road, like my YouTube, like comments, like people will say, hey, I just passed your truck. Somewhere, possibly in Arkansas, I can't remember. It was pretty cool. A woman commented and was like, hey, I just passed you at exit 40 something. Keep up the good luck. Just want to see what your YouTube channel was about. Now, I thought that was pretty cool. You keep saying I need what on it?
You need a QR code.
I tend to agree that I may need a QR code that takes me straight to the site. But I don't want people already doing this going down the road.
That's just the generation we live in. Everybody snap a picture. I mean, you might be a professional podcaster if you do that.
He's laughing, but there's a joke beside that one. But at the beginning of this episode, I did say, what is your name? if y'all seen that YouTube short, it's when it went famous, I think originally it was like two seals, like them big old seals. And then the one that really made it funny was the the two dogs. And the dog's like, what's your name? Tony. What's your name? Ezekiel. And then there's a few edited words that go along with that. But it was throughout the blind, the whole hunting experience, it was, what's your name? Tony. It was kind of funny. And so it was a good, it's been a good week. I do feel a little bit older. We got home today. I think I chunked him off at about 3 o'clock. His wife came out. I said, hey, I took care of him for a week, and I kicked Tony out. And I made it back to be on the live tonight. So I sent him a message. I'm like, hey, you want to come on and we talk about this week's glorious experience that you had spending a week with me? I mean, I think that's glorious.
I think we need to define glorious.
Let's don't look it up. When I did get home, I went to go take a shower and the scale was there. I'm like, I really shouldn't step on that scale. I gained 6 pounds.
Well, you got lucky then.
So that first night we ate sushi. Somewhere day 3, I think it was day 2. We go into this. At this time, this was a janky all-you-can-eat buffet. If y'all know me, there's a few people on here that like really know me. Like I'm not an awkward person. I know Tony. He was like asking questions about coming on here. Like I'm not an awkward person. So when we walked into this restaurant, Tony's standing in front of me at the table. We're taking our jackets off. The waitress woman was like, what do you want? I'm like, I want a Dr. Pepper. Tony's like, I want water. And the next thing I know, there's a little lady standing beside me. She's rubbing my arm saying, how you feel today? I felt pretty awkward. Like I was out of my element. Even Tony's like, you looked very awkward. I didn't even know who this woman was. She was another waitress. And she was like, how you feeling today? Well, at this point, I don't know how I'm feeling. I had a great day hunting. I felt really good about coming to eat here. Now I don't know if I should be scared. Like, how do I feel? We eat, and Tony forces me to get more sushi.
Yeah, I forced you.
I go back, I get some more sushi. And I think I may went back the third time. I can't recall. But regardless of the situation, there was one sushi left. Like, I may have been sounding like a humpback whale breathing. I'm like, I can't eat this one sushi. So I pushed it over to Tony, and the great guy he is, he forcibly took that last sushi and ate it. And I think once I got back to the hotel, that last trip to the buffet bar was it should have just stopped. I should have not went. It was painful. It was pretty bad. But right before we left, that lady came up to us and she was like, she had the little paper, like the receipt, and she was like, y'all two brothers? I'm like, yeah, we brothers. He's like, I ain't his brother. I'm like, he wish he had somebody this good looking as his brother. And Tony's got, I don't have my wallet, but Tony's got his wallet out, and I'm like, no, I got it. He paid for ours the other night. I'm gonna pay for it. I said, just get the tip, Tony. He was like, okay. And that woman is all up in his grill now. He's like he doesn't have to like look at her. He's got to look at her. That's how close she's up in his grill. And he's like, well, how much tip do you want? She's like, $6. And he's like, $6. So at this time, I'm laughing because I know that he's uncomfortable because I was uncomfortable earlier and he's uncomfortable. So I take some ones and I throw it at him and I'm like, hey, he likes to dance for dollars. Here you go, Tony. And she's like asking him, I mean, like, when you would think that somebody would ask you how much tip you want, I would have been like $20. I mean, somebody say, how much tip you want? I don't know. Give me 100. Shoot. Jokingly, I would be like 1,000, something like that. She asked for $6. At that point, I knew we were in a janky restaurant.
It took that for you to figure it out.
A little bit. It was at that point, if we were going to get food poisoning, it could have been it. It could have been that restaurant for sure. But it was, I mean, the food was good. It really was. The sushi was real good. You know, they got the all-you-can-eat buffet little sushis. You got to eat like 5,000 of them. Tony said, I ate 44 of the 46 that was on the bar. I don't recall that. I might have ate 43 because I had to push one on to him. But he gave like, what, $10 or something?
No, it was a little bit more than that. I forget. It was like, I think I put 12 out there, and then you threw a wad of ones, and we made her day. She was happy back there talking about it.
She went off to the side and was like telling them other waitresses, wait. And one of them was a guy. That might have been the biggest tip that she had. And I'm like, on one side, I told, like, no joking aside, I told Tony, I'm like, man, it's kind of sad that, you know, $12 made that much of a difference. Like, you felt bad. But on the other hand, I mean, she was almost in your wallet with your hand. It was that crazy. Never eat buffet. Jeff says never eat buffet sushi.
It was strange.
Also on a duck trip. In a blind in the water. Looking back, it was probably a dumb thing to do, Jeff. It probably was, but we were fine. We lived. We left Reelfoot Lake Monday night. Tuesday night. I don't even know. We've been gone so long. Even Tony said, I thought you did your podcast on Wednesdays. I'm like, today is Wednesday. That's how, like, you know, you done got confused when you're gone so long. You don't even know what day it is. But we came back for Reelfoot Lake. I said, man, I really just would like to get past Nashville because from Reelfoot Lake is in the top corner of the state of Tennessee. It's on the Mississippi. Like, you can't go no further. To come home, you have to leave Tennessee, ride through Kentucky to come back down. That's how far you're out in the middle of nowhere. And I said, man, I really want to get past Nashville. So we stopped just a little bit before Knoxville for the night. And we woke up this morning and beautiful snow was coming down. The cars were covered. The grass was covered. We left, I think it was Cooksville. Is it Cooksville? Anyway, it's just barely outside of Knoxville. We drive all the way through Knoxville. We go past the first Buc-ee's. We go to the second Buc-ee's, and I had to tell Tony he ain't never been to Buc-ee's. That first time he went to Buc-ee's was the first time. This was the second time. I'm like, you got to try the brisket. I don't like the brisket. You got to try the brisket. Everybody talks about this brisket. So we stop. He goes in. He gets his brisket. He gets the kids some stuff. Well, I was going to say the kids might be listening, but they already gone to bed. But he gets some stuff for the kids, and we get back in the truck, and we're going down the road. Do. He picks up that brisket. I paid $9 for this brisket. What in the world? Did you know this was $9? I'm like, yeah, I knew it was $9. So he eats it. What do you think?
It was pretty good. I'm not sure that it lived up to the hype, but it was pretty good. I don't really have any complaints. I don't know if I'd pay $9 for it again though.
So if you've never been to a Buc-ee's, they are the cleanest bathrooms of any gas station. And the people that clean the bathrooms probably make more than me and Tony. They got a sign out front that tells you what everybody makes, and it's like, wow. But we're standing at the checkout line, and there was kids everywhere. Not kids, they were high school, college kids. And Tony looks at me, he's like, I think I'm starting to get some anxiety up in this place. Like he was like, I don't think that I could deal with this every day. But I'm like, well, that's Buc-ee's. And then me and him looking and talking, I'm like, if each person in here spent $5, and $5 is a low number, they got to be making bukus. Much less also on fuel. But we drive and we get back in. We drive all the way through Asheville. I think all the way a little bit past Asheville before it ever stopped snowing. So I mean, it was really beautiful. Somewhere on 40, we had to exit because the road's still damaged, and we had to go through. I don't even know what the town was.
Springs.
Hot Springs. That was it. But I don't recall even seeing any of that on the news. But this town, and I'm talking about small little towns, they were still devastated, still digging out from that hurricane. That Hot Springs town that he's talking about, they had highway patrol, police directing traffic because the interstate shut down. This whole town, like, it was destroyed. I mean, what was that hurricane, a month ago? Them people are still dealing with that stuff. I mean, it was like heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking then. I know I went and helped, and a couple of weeks later, I know you went up to the mountains and helped. I mean, it is like legit heartbreaking how much devastation that hurricane has done to North Carolina and Tennessee. And I mean, it was
pretty bad.
It was bad. I mean, you go by and you see all these like tent communities, you see all these campers set up, and man, I'm telling you, it was snowing. It was 30 degrees. Tony says it was 20 in the truck, but these people are still living out there. I mean, it was heartbreaking. Like, I didn't record it. It was legit heartbreaking, and my heart still goes out to them. I mean, it was almost a slap in the face of, we knew the storm was bad. We both went up there to help. We came back. We done living in our reality. We went duck hunting, and then you see it again, and it's like, man, that's right in our backyards. I mean, so if you haven't donated, there was signs up. We still need donations. So still remember them people in North Carolina, Tennessee, And plus Georgia, when we went down Georgia, going down the interstate, Georgia, they were still cleaning trees off the interstate down there. So it was pretty crazy. Jay says when you get a chance, look at the pay scale at Buc-ee's. Yeah, Jay, I took a picture of it. Like I took a picture and be like, yeah. I mean, it's just like a reality when you get the Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Like, I think the person cleaning the bathrooms were like $20 or something. $20.
No, I don't think everybody is above 20.
Yeah, it was like the car wash people, the general managers. I mean, the cooks. I mean, they got every person's pay outside, and if you work night shift, it's like $2 more an hour.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. I had a good time. Tony had a good time. Maybe I didn't ruin him. Maybe it wasn't a painful week for him. But he did say, a couple times I'd wake him up in the middle of the night, either by snoring or my phone notification.
Or you going to the bathroom?
I mean, I don't know how that you're older and you don't have that old man have to go in the middle of the night.
You just soft, man. I'm tough.
Oh, Lord. Let's talk about that air conditioning.
Except when it comes to being cold.
Jeff says them old trucks are famous for leaking air on the backside of the glove box. That's where it had to be, Jeff.
That's where it was at.
Like, I had an extra Carhartt jacket. He done took the jacket and stuffed it around the air box. Like, I mean, it was like, I'm a big boy, so 2 eggs, and it was still cold. So
it was rough.
It was. I give it some credit. It was pretty rough. Like half. He said one foot's burning up and the other foot's freezing. So he hurt his ankle about a month or so ago. He hurt his ankle and his right ankle, and I said, dude, I'm just giving you ice therapy. Like, you don't even need an ice box on that. I give you ice therapy. So you're welcome.
Exactly what I got. You're right. I appreciate it. How much do I owe you for that?
I mean, he did say when he got out, well, I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to walk. My foot's so frozen. But we brought back a good amount of birds. We're gonna have to get some mounted. I had a pretty good week. It was definitely, you start out with a 7-day hunt. Well, not a 7-day hunt, a 7-day adventure. The first 2 days go by slow, and then about the end of the week, it feels like they speed up and things go by so fast. But, man, I had a great time. Eventually, some point, there is going to be a video or videos of this trip. I don't know if I'm going to put them all together or break them apart. But, yeah, it's going to be some videos. Had a good time, especially with Christmas coming up. I don't know what I can get done, but definitely there will be some videos. There's probably going to be some laughs. There's going to probably be a video of what's your name? Tony. But yeah, there was all kind of stuff. I had a good time, so I appreciate you coming along.
I'm glad I did. I had fun. It was fun. Like I said, I haven't done a whole lot of duck hunting. Just, swamp here and there or a little pond here and there, but nothing like you guys do. I'm glad I went. I had fun.
Yeah. Both Jeff and Jay, they big hunters. We weren't probably too far from Jeff out there. He's from Nebraska. So we wasn't terribly too far from his neck of the woods. But yeah, I had a good time. I really did. I told Tony when we got back, I'm like, man, it's going to be Christmas time. Like, the season's going to be almost starting when we get back for South Carolina. And then, boom, it's going to be Christmas, New Year, and the season's over with. I mean, it just stinks. But that's how it goes. I'm going to start talking up my next adventure now. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. Not Tony, because he wasn't duck hunting at that time. But the other 2 guys that hunt with me, we got picked for that South Carolina draw down at Santee Delta. And, man, I hope we like state drawed, state provided. It's on like old plantations. I can't wait. So hopefully that's going to be good. But anything else on this trip that stands out?
No, I mean, I guess one of the things when we laying out in that peanut field, having them birds fly over and like really looking up and seeing them like coming in and pitching or flying over and getting to like see them directly over top of you. Like the first ones that come through, I really thought was going to land on top of us, literally on the blankets that was on top of us, camouflaging us with the dirt. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That was, and there were so many of them. You hear the quack and you hear their feathers. It was unreal. It was, and I really hope some of these videos pick that sound up. I mean, it was like 30-mile-per-hour winds. I mean, it was ripping out there. But yeah, I agree. Like I said, we did the traditional pond. We did the field goose. We did the laying in the back. We did the marsh hunt. We did the divers. I told Tony on the way back, only thing next is Arkansas in the trees. So maybe next year, Arkansas in the trees. You down?
Well, McDonald's was wrote off the list for this hunt. That was a gentleman's agreement we had. Maybe I ought to put janky restaurant.
All right, so let's back that up just a hair. So when I invited him to go, and he said, "I will go on this adventure with you as long as we do not eat at a McDonald's," and I said, "That's fine, as long as we do not eat at a Cracker Barrel, because I hate Cracker Barrel." So he did not eat at a McDonald's. On the last day coming home, he's like, "Man, I need to go to the bathroom." So I do. We pull in, and the gas station's on the right, McDonald's is on the left, and I go to look like I'm pulling in the gas station. I whip it into the McDonald's. He's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, you got to go use the bathroom at McDonald's." And I had to get a photo of it. So I held up to my agreement. And then on the way back, I said, "Hey, I know you like some Cracker Barrel. You did want a steak. We'll stop at this Cracker Barrel." We pull off the interstate. I go to park. The manager comes out. He says, "Hey, I'm sorry to let you know that we're closing at 7 o'clock for a Christmas party. The whole store shut down, and y'all going to have to go somewhere else." And I looked at Tony, and I said, "You got to be kidding me. We've passed 400 Cracker Barrels. The one time I'm like, okay, we're going to go to Cracker Barrel." And they were closed. It was nighttime. It was like the heavens opened up, and I didn't have to eat at the Cracker Barrel. So we go to this. Do you remember the name of that restaurant?
I don't.
It was just like a Applebee's kind of pub restaurant.
Yeah, it was a little bit better than it. I'm sure it was probably a chain, but not a big chain.
Yeah, and we were outside of that fort. What was that fort?
Fort Campbell.
Hey, mentioning Fort Campbell, at least when Tony was there, everywhere we got to park in the veteran spot. So, I mean, we were like, everywhere we parked was first service up at the door. So we parked and went in, and Tony was like, "Man, I want a steak," and they had a steak. And as soon as you open the menu, what they have, Tony?
More sushi.
More sushi. Tony's like, "Well, heck, we might as well not break a tradition. Let's eat sushi." So he got the steak and sushi. I got sushi, and he ordered some kind of tater tot BLT with ranch with tater tots. I mean, it was a meal by itself.
It was just the appetizer.
It was just the appetizer, yes. He made me eat half of it.
Yeah.
He says I maybe ate more than half. There was at least half gone, and my sushi. I felt miserable. Like, it was miserable after also. And like 2 stops to the bathroom. It was. I felt like a cow in the feedlot, just painfully being force fed. That's about. Like, when I got home tonight, I knew I needed to eat supper. But I don't think I couldn't eat nothing. I mean, it was just, I was tired of food.
Yeah, them boys will spoil you, and both of them guides, both companies, they'd spoil you on the food for sure.
So Jay has asked a question, Tony, and I'm going to 100% allow you time to answer this question.
Oh boy.
Jay says, I can't believe you don't like Cracker Barrel. Are you Southern?
I wonder that too, Jay. I mean, I don't see how anybody, especially as picky as he is, don't like the Cracker Barrel, because the Cracker Barrel has a little bit of everything. Breakfast, your more traditional, like your Southern country meals, fried foods, etc., chicken, steaks, and he just don't like it. And he said he's more worried about walking through all that clutter, but yet we go to Buc-ee's and he picks up a conversation with the boys that was in front of us. He's over getting his Dr. Pepper and he's talking to them people over there. And I'm looking in this place and I'm just thinking, come on, Reynolds, it's time to go. I don't mind being around people. I'm not that person, but like, this was too much almost for me to handle.
All that could be true. It is true, Jay. I do not like Cracker Barrel. I don't like going in. Now, granted, my kids are a little bit older now, and honestly, I probably could tell you the last time I ate a Cracker Barrel. But I hate the going in, and there's just so much stuff, and you telling one kid, put that back. No, we're not buying that. And that's just to even get to the little lady to tell her you want a table. And it's just like, the kids now got to go to the restroom, so they got the restroom right beside the toys. It's just, it utterly frustrates me. And it could just be I'm old. I don't know. The food is good. The waitresses are always good, but it's the whole experience. I don't know. But that was the whole trip. We didn't have no flat tires, no truck problems. I brought him back. He is live. He is all in one piece and a little bit more pieces.
And I got some ducks to mount.
So he saved money, spent money, and going to spend even more money on mounting ducks. So, Tony, welcome to the addiction. My name is Randall. We meet here on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock, and we discuss how broke we are as waterfowl hunters.
I can see that. Broken overweight for eating too much.
Hey, blind food is the best food, is all I got to say.
It was good.
Just as I'm un-American not to like Cracker Barrel.
That's right, Jeff.
Hey, it is what it is. All right, well, it is 9:30. You have been on here for an hour and a half. He's like, man, I just want like 15 minutes. Edit me out. This is almost past his bedtime. No, it ain't almost past his bedtime. It's 200% past his bedtime.
You're right about that.
I mean, I'm just preparing you for staying up later so that you can watch.
It would be past my bedtime if we were still in Oklahoma.
I mean, do you put the chickens to bed? Like, do you pick them up and go tuck them in the bed?
Well, I mean, that's the only birds. That's the only birds I got to mess with. So.
Oh, that's terrible. Jeff says, I'm Jeff. I've been duck hunting for 50 years. Wow. This is only like my fifth or sixth season. I don't know. I have to go count my stamps. So, yeah, I haven't financially recovered from this. So, I don't even know how much we spent on this trip. Honestly, I don't know. But we had fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
If not, I had fun laughing at myself and then Tony laughing at me. But we killed birds. We missed birds. We laughed. And we made it home. So, and like I said at the beginning, Jay, I greatly appreciate you covering the live last week. I think you did a great job.
I think so too.
It is definitely not easy to get up here and talk and show your face. But if you have a face like me, it's easy. You see Tony's face.
You got a face for radio, huh?
He got a face for radio that only a mother who would love.
Ooh.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate it, Jeff. I hope to get them in the marsh. I don't know if I'm going this weekend. I might go to the local pond. I might just sleep in. But all right. Well, Tony, I appreciate you coming on.
Appreciate it.
I had a good trip. Me and Tony, we go back a long ways. We were both younger, but all right. Well, I'll let you get into bed, man. I know you're getting old, so I greatly appreciate each one tuning in, and y'all make sure you hit that live like button, share it out. So got to find my button here. I think that's everything. So y'all have a good week. Here's a word from our sponsors. Appreciate you coming on, Tony.
Thank you.
What is your name? Tony. See y'all.
Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors, shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also, go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made full waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board, and I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Kick's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC, has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service, LLC, prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC.